See if I can spotlight myself. No. God, okay. Just do that. Whatever. Okay, this is fine. Okay, so let me turn my fan on real quick. There we go. Okay. All right, well, you can tell I'm totally all over the place this morning. Let's see if we can just all come together and get settled first. So let's find a seat. And if you want to put a little height under you, that's fine. Apparently my children stole the blanket I usually sit on, so I'm going to sit on this pillow. And we'll just come to a comfortable seat, whatever that feels like for you. I don't know how to turn this off. Okay. You can sit on your shins. You can sit crisscross applesauce, any way that you feel comfortable. And if you're feeling like me this morning, I'm not necessarily frazzled. I'm just a little scatterbrained for some reason. I'm going to really focus on feeling rooted to the ground. And I'm going to feel my sit bones become heavy. I'm going to turn my palms downward on my knees. I'm going to start thinking about really feeling rooted into the ground. Still lifting through the spine, lift through the crown of the head. Maybe drop your jaw ever so slightly to create more length through the back of the neck. And let's take one big breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Let's see if we can start breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Drop the tongue into the bottom of the mouth. Relax the jaw, relax the space in between your eyes. Relax your hands. Now let's bring our hands to our heart. Create just a little bit of space in between your hands, enough to just hold maybe a seed, and bring an intention to your practice this morning, whatever that may be for you. You can keep it for yourself. You can dedicate it to someone else. Just take a moment to set that intention. And once you have that settled, go ahead, begin to open the eyes, let the hands come down. And let's start by doing just a few neck rolls. Slowly, you'll hear little pops and sounds coming as you do that. And then when you're ready, let's reverse that circle. Good. And let's just take a few shoulder rolls also. Let's bring them forward, up, back, and down. Forward, up, back, and down. Let's do that 2 more times, and then we'll reverse. And opposite direction. Nice. And then let's start to come on to hands and knees. Remove anything that you might have been sitting on. You can set it aside for now. And we'll start off in tabletop. So hands flat down on the ground, fingers spread wide. Wrists directly underneath the shoulders, knees directly underneath the hips. We're flat on the tops of our feet. And we'll go through a few cat and cow stretches. Let's start with cow. So we tuck the toes under, drop the belly down, gaze comes up, inhale. And then exhale, push into cat pose, arch the back, release the head and neck. And then back to cow. We'll go through this a couple of times. And this last cat, let's take a second here to really press the palms into the mat. Really arch up through the back and pretend like you're going to pull your mat apart. You should be shaking. You're pressing so hard. And you'll feel your lats turn on, this muscle right here. Press, 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 and then release. Let's come back for a quick child's pose. Stretch out, lengthen through the arms. So you're going to reach out in front of you with your fingertips and then reach back with your tailbone, really lengthening through the spine. And we'll stretch our shoulders. We're going to come up, bring the right hand back into that tabletop position, and you're going to thread the left arm through. Right arm is in front of your face. I like to turn my hand in. My right arm is at a 90-degree angle. My left arm is threaded through, and my palm is facing up. So getting a little bit of a spinal twist and a release in the shoulder. And then press through that right hand to put yourself back up and switch sides. So thread the right arm through. Right palm faces up. Again, if you like it, like I do, you can rotate your left fingers towards your face. Keep that 90-degree bend in your left elbow. Stretch out through the back of the right shoulder. And a little spinal twist here in the thoracic spine. And then we'll come back up. Tabletop and press back for our first down dog. So you can pedal your feet, walk your dog, stretch to the backs of the legs. Take some deep breaths. And then find a moment of stillness here. The first thing I want you to do is take a look at your hands. Your hands should be spread wide. Most of your weight should be at the base of the thumb. You should be making an L shape with your forefinger and your thumb. And then the eye of the elbow, which is the inner crease of the elbow, is rotated forward. So you're rotating that crease forward, active through the shoulder girdle, hips lifted, heels pressing down. One more big breath. And then let's walk with straight legs all the way to the front of the mat. So you just kind of waddle on up there. And then we'll just take our forward fold. And you can hang down if you want to. You can take more of a ragdoll where you cross your arms. If you want to, you can even kind of sway your body back and forth. That can feel really nice. Let the head and neck be heavy. And then pause. See if you can find any more length through the back of the legs. And then we'll roll up to standing, starting by bending the knees. Roll up one vertebra at a time, all the way to standing. We'll come to mountain pose. So feet come together, toes lift, tail tucks, shoulders down the back, fingers spread wide, palms face forward. Again, think about finding that length through the back of the cervical spine, the back of the neck. Chin drops ever so slightly while still lifting through the crown of the head. And we'll start to move through our sun salutations. Arms come out and up. Reach up, look up if you want to take a slight back bend. Make sure you tuck your tail. And then we'll fold forward, flat back, all the way down, forward fold. Halfway lift, either on your fingertips or bring hands to shins, whatever allows you to keep your spine straight all the way from your tailbone to the top of your head. And release, palms come down. Plant those hands, step back, find plank pose. So take a moment here to find steadiness in your plank pose. Again, you're pressing up through the back, just like we were in cat pose. We're not sinking down. Shoulder blades should not be pinched behind you. You want to press into the floor, lift your back high. Tailbone stays down, tight through the core, and then we'll lower all the way down by keeping the elbows right next to the ribs. So it's more like a tricep push-up. We'll release all the way down to the ground. Flip the feet over so you're on the tops of the feet, and we'll find cobra. So you gently lift through the upper spine, hips press down into the floor. My knees are lifted. I'm active through the legs, engaged, and release. Then we'll come back up the way we went down. So tuck those toes. We'll take a reverse push-up back to plank, and then hips lift, press back, down dog. Take a big breath in and out. Then we'll come high on the toes, bend the knees, and we're just gonna walk back for the first time, back into forward fold. Hang out here for just a second. I'm gonna adjust my mat, a little too close to the wall. And then we'll rise all the way up, reverse swan dive, flat back all the way up, and hands to heart. And let's do that same thing just a little bit faster this time. Arms out and up, and forward fold, flat back, all the way down. Halfway lift, plant the palms, step back, plank pose. Again, think about lifting through the back body, not sinking. And then we lower all the way down. Elbows graze the ribs. And then rise for cobra. Active through the legs, lift the knees, squeeze those elbows back into your rib cage, and release. And reverse push-up, back to plank, and press back down dog. One big breath. High on the toes, bend the knees, and again, walk forward to the top of the mat. Reverse swan dive, lift all the way up, hands to heart. Arms come out and up, and forward fold, all the way down. Halfway lift, plant the palms, and if you're ready to take that jump back, you can. Just remember, when you land in chaturanga, which is like the middle of a push-up. So you land with bent arms, flat back, and then you come up either to up dog or cobra, whatever feels right for you. And then lift the hips back, find down dog. Big breath in and out. High on the toes, bend the knees and either jump or walk to the top of your mat, forward fold. And rise all the way up, hands to heart. We'll go through that a few more times. You choose your vinyasa, whether it be up dog, down dog, sorry, not down dog, cobra. Whatever feels right for you. Walk or jump to the top of your mat. Forward fold. Arms come out and up. Hands to heart. Arms sweep out and up. And forward fold all the way down. Halfway lift. Move through your vinyasa. We have a visitor. If you can see him. High on the toes. Bend the knees. And back to the top of the mat. Reverse swan dive, lift all the way up, hands to heart. One more time. Arms sweep out and up, flat back, forward fold. Halfway lift, and find your flow. Hips lift, high on the toes, bend the knees, and forward fold. Pause and forward fold just for a moment. Let's take the hands, clasp them back by your tailbone, and then extend through the arms any amount, rinsing the shoulders out overhead. Let the head and neck be heavy. Pull those shoulders away from the ears. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. And release. Then reverse swan dive. Lift. Hands come to heart. Take a moment. Pause. And we'll start moving through our B series. Arms sweep out and up. Forward fold all the way down. Halfway lift. Find your vinyasa. We all meet in down dog. Right leg lifts. Pause here. Think about pressing the left heel down. Keep those hips square to the mat. And now bend that knee. Bring it through. Hover. Pause. And then step it through. Foot comes down. Let's lower the left knee. Come to the top of the left foot. Rise up. Press those hips forward. If you want to keep your hands on top of your thigh, that's fine. If you want to reach up, find a slight back bend, you can do that as well. Press those hips forward. And then circle the arms down. Hands come down. Lift high on the back toes. Step back and move through your flow. Back to down dog. Left leg lifts. Hips stay square. Shoulders are square. Knee comes to nose. Pause. Still lifting up through the back, not sinking. Left foot steps through. Lower the right shin down, right top of the foot. Chest lifts. Press those hips forward. Open up through the front body. And arms circle down. Step back, plank pose, and move through your vinyasa. Back to down dog. One big breath in and out. High on the toes, bend the knees, and make your way to the top of the mat. We have a new guest. Arms sweep out and up, and hands come to heart. Again, arms come out and up, and forward fold all the way down. Halfway lift. Find your flow. Meet in down dog. Right leg lifts. Hips stay square. Press back. Left heel lowering towards the ground. Bend that right knee. Bring it in towards the nose and pause. Step that right foot through. Stay in a low lunge. Here, let's first take those hands clasped back behind and open up through the shoulders. You can even come towards the inside of your right thigh. Lift the hands back behind you. Now release that grip. Press through the front foot. Rise up, high lunge. And here, let's take those hands back behind. Find the shoulder blades. Open up through the triceps. Still stay low in that lunge. Arms come up and release. Back down to the ground. Step back and find your flow. Meet in down dog. Left leg lifts. Bring that knee in. Pause. Step the foot through. Again, clasp the hands back at your tailbone and then rinse them out overhead. Remember to breathe. And now lift up, high lunge. And this time, let's take those hands and give ourselves a hug. Wrap them around, reaching for the shoulder blades back behind you. Think about opening up through the back body. Stay low in that lunge. And then arms come up and sweep back down. Move through your flow. Meet in down dog. High in the toes, bend the knees, and make your way towards the top of the mat. Forward fold. Reverse swan dive. Lift. Hands come to heart. Arms sweep out and up. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Move through your flow. Hips lift, down dog. Right leg lifts and bend and spin that hip open. Shoulders stay square to the mat. Left heel still pressing down. Open through the hips. Three-legged dog. Extend the right leg. Bend the knee. Bring it towards the nose. Pause. Right foot steps through. We're going to hop set that back foot forward just a little bit. Toes pointing to 10 o'clock. And we lift all the way up for warrior one. Press through the outer edge of the left foot, bending through the right knee. Nice. And then let's take a moment to find pyramid pose. So we'll straighten the right leg, flat back, arms come down, hands come down. Stretch through the back of the right leg. Find length there. Nose comes to knee. Now let's move through that just a couple of times. So we'll bend the knee, lift up for warrior one, and then straighten the front leg, fold over for pyramid. Lift up, warrior one, straighten that leg, find pyramid pose. Last time, lift up, warrior one, and hands circle back behind you, palms come down, step back, and move through your vinyasa. Meet in down dog. Left leg lifts, bend and spin that hip open, keep those shoulders square, right heel finding the floor. Left leg extends, and bring your knee to your nose, pause. Step that foot through, hop step that right foot back, forward, just a little bit, toes pointing towards 2 o'clock, and rise up, warrior one. Find strength through that back leg. Really press into the right side of the right foot. And then we'll find pyramid pose on this side. So flat back, left leg straightens, and fold over that front leg. Pause for just a moment. The muscle open. And then bend the knee, find warrior one. And then fold over for pyramid pose. Again, bend the knee, lift, and then pyramid. Last time, lift for warrior one. Arms circle back behind you, plant the palms down, step back, plank, and move through your vinyasa. Nice, high on the toes, bend the knees, come to the top of the mat. Lift up, all the way up, hands come to heart. Arms sweep out and up. Forward fold, flat back, all the way down. Halfway lift. Plant the hands and move through your flow. Right leg lifts. Bend and spin the hip open. Extend through the right leg. Knee to nose. Pause. Then let's bring that leg back up. Right knee, right elbow. Pause. Right leg lifts. And bring it across the body, right knee, left elbow. Right leg lifts, and then step it through. This time we're gonna rotate the back foot out, and we're gonna lift the body for warrior two. Left toes pointing straight ahead, right knee directly over the right ankle. Tall through the torso, shoulders down away from the ears, gaze over the right fingertips. Stay low. And then we'll reach forward and arch back. Find length to the right side body. And then we'll reach forward for side angle pose. Top of the right forearm comes to the top of the right thigh. Left arm reaches overhead. And then again, arch back and reach forward, side angle. Arch back, stay low in the legs. Side angle. Again, arch back. This time, arms come down, windmill the hands down to the ground. Step back and find your flow. Left leg lifts. Bend and spin the hip open. Extend the left leg. Knee to nose. Pause. Left leg lifts. Left knee, left elbow. Pause. Left leg lifts. Left knee, right elbow. Left leg lifts. This time, step that foot through. Rotate the right foot. Torso lifts. Find warrior two. Right toes face forward. Left toes face out to the side. Left knee directly over left ankle. Arms straight out, away from the ears. Gaze over the left hand. We'll move to that dancing warrior. So we reach forward and then arch back. And then reach forward, top of the left forearm to the top of the left thigh. Right arm reaches over, side angle pose. And then we come back. Reach back, staying low in the legs. And side angle. Reach back. Side angle. One more time. Reach back. And then bring the hands down, windmill them. Place the palms, step back, and find your flow. Hips lift. High on the toes, bend the knees. And bring your body forward, forward fold. Arms out and up, reach up. Hands to heart. Arms sweep out and up. And forward fold all the way down. Flat back and find your vinyasa. Knee and down dog. Right leg lifts. Bend and spin that hip open. Left heel finds the ground. Right leg extends. Knee to nose. Pause. Right leg lifts. Right knee, right elbow. Right leg lifts. Right knee, left elbow. Right leg lifts. And step the foot through. Back up, warrior two. Reach forward and back. And this time we're going to come to side angle, but I'm going to offer you the opportunity of a bind. So you can start, if you like, by bringing the left hand around to the top of the left thigh and moving your torso over the right thigh. You can stay there. Open out through the left shoulder. If that feels like no big deal, you can take your right arm and reach under to grasp your left hand. Then release back, warrior two. Arch back, And hands windmill down, find your vinyasa. Back to down dog. Left leg lifts. Bend and spin that hip open. Left leg extends. Knee to nose. Pause. Left leg lifts. Left knee, left elbow. Left leg lifts. Left knee, right elbow. Left leg lifts. And bring the foot in between the hands. Rise up. Warrior two. Reach forward and back. And again, if you want to try for that bind on this side, you can do that. So this time it would be the right arm coming back behind you. Right hand finding top of the right thigh. Or if you prefer a deeper bind, you take the left hand, reach it under and back behind you to grasp the right hand for bound side angle. And release, back up, warrior two. And reach back one more time. And then windmill the arms forward and down. Move through your vinyasa. Hips lift, down dog. High on the toes, bend the knees. Come to the top of the mat. Reverse swan dive, lift. And hands to heart. Arms come out and up. Forward fold, all the way down. Halfway lift, find your flow. Hips lift, down dog. Right leg lifts, bend and spin that hip. Extend the right leg. Knee to nose, pause. Right leg lifts, right knee, right elbow. Right leg lifts, right knee, left elbow. Right leg lifts, step it through. Rotate that foot, warrior two. This time, extend through the right leg. We'll find triangle pose. So you reach with your fingertips all the way out to the right side, flat back, and then release the hand down either to your ankle or the inside or outside of your foot. Left arm reaches skyward. And sometimes it can feel nice to give yourself a little reset. Make sure that you're flat back here by bringing that left hand down and then back up. Somehow it helps me find a little bit more length and feel like I'm, what am I trying to say? It's like being in between two panes of glass, right? Find your breath. And if you want to take the bind here, left hand comes back around. Same thing. You want to reach back for the top of that right thigh. Open up through the left shoulder. Then release that bind. Left hand comes up and then we'll find a twist. Left hand comes down to the inside of the right foot. You rotate your hips. So now they're more towards the ground. Right arm lifts. So you find a spinal twist. Try to keep the legs straight. There's a lot of coordination going on in this pose. Then release the twist. Find triangle one last time. Nice. And then let's find warrior two. Pause. Lengthen through the legs. And then the left arm circles forward. Hands come down. Step back. Find your flow. Hips lift high. Left leg lift. Bend, spin that hip open. Straighten the left leg. knee to nose and pause. Left leg lifts. Left knee, left elbow. Left leg lifts. Left knee, right elbow. Last time, left leg lifts. Step it through. Rise up for warrior two. Straighten the left leg. Really reach with the left fingertips out over the left foot. And you know where we're headed now, triangle pose. If you want to take that little adjustment again, feel free to bring that right hand down and then bring it back up. Lengthen through the legs, reach with the hand. If you want to try the bind again, right arm comes behind you, reaches for the top of the left thigh, open up through that right shoulder. And release the bind, hand comes high. Then we'll move for that twist. So this time, right hand comes down towards the left inner arch. Think about rotating your hips a bit. Open the torso towards the left. Left arm reaches skyward. Twisting through the spine, lengthening through the legs. And then we'll release that back to triangle. And then warrior two. Really find that strength in the legs. Try not to let the toes curl. Press through your feet. And then windmill the right hand forward, step back, move through your vinyasa. Come to down dog and pause. Press those heels down. High on the toes, bend the knees, and jump forward to the top of your mat. Lift up, all the way up. Hands come to heart, and pause. Try to bring a little bit of stillness back towards your breath. Shoulders away from the ears. Bring back to mind that intention that you set at the beginning of class. Mind being to feel grounded. So that said, let's flip upside down. All right? Sometimes the best way to feel grounded is to flip upside down. Try out our balance. So we'll do a couple of inversions and then we'll move into some more shoulder stretching. So make sure you have a wall nearby for support. I'm actually gonna move this because if I want my wall, I don't wanna break my picture. So we'll start by working with headstand. Headstand is probably the simplest inversion. We'll just move through a couple. Actually, you know what? I changed my mind. Let's start with crow, and then we'll do headstand. So crow, make sure you have a crash pad. Doesn't that sound exciting? So you can get some pillows or a blanket, anything that's gonna make you feel like if you tip over, you're still gonna be okay. You will, I promise. So for crow is an arm balance, okay? I know some of you have done this before, maybe some of you haven't, but what we'll start in is a pose called Malasana. So for Malasana, you bring your feet a little bit farther than shoulder distance apart, and you find a really deep squat. So it's a really deep squat, and you find your balance just in that squat. So I'm using my elbows to press on the inside of my thighs, tucking the tail, really being super low to the ground, okay? Now I'm gonna rotate so you can see what I'm doing. If you have your crash pad, you're gonna bring it in front of you, okay? So we start in Malasana. Then we place the palms down near that crash pad, right? So they're out in front of you, about shoulder width apart. And you're gonna start to lift that tailbone. You're going to bring your feet in and your knees in, you're gonna start to bring your shins onto the top of your triceps. Gaze is forward. So now you see why we have that crash pad. And just play with it. Maybe it's just one foot up. Maybe you just practice switching. Maybe you just play with that sense of changing your center of gravity from Malasana and then putting weight into your hands. Just work through that for a minute at whatever level you feel comfortable, right? You can just simply rock back and forth. See what it feels like to connect your shins to your triceps. So you gotta be pretty open in your hips too to do this, right? And more than anything, you just have to be brave. Because it's just about finding your center of gravity and bone stacking and believing you can do it. And then we'll release out of that. All right, so I'm gonna just come to a quick little forward fold, shimmy shake out of that a little bit, right? I know you didn't ask for an arm balance, but it's still a bit of an inversion. So now we'll move to headstand. So for headstand, if you wanna have a wall, that's fine. There are several ways that we can move into headstand. I'll demonstrate them for you, and then you can decide what you want to do and decide if you feel like you want a wall, okay? So the first way I'm gonna show you is just a tripod headstand, right? So I like to come into a wide forward fold first and just kind of feel that out, right? Just helps me kind of loosen up. And then I'm gonna bring my arms back down, hands about shoulder width, right? And if you want to, you can come back to sort of that beginning crow pose, right? And now you take your head down, okay? So head and hands, try, right? And then it's the same as crow, kind of. Here, I'm bringing my shins to the tops of my triceps. And you can just hang out here. This is totally fine. Or you can try to lift the legs up. Woo! Come back down. I'm feeling a little shaky today. So that's one version. And if you want to try that, you can try that up against the wall. You can also deadlift, which I'm not sure if I can do it today. I usually can. We'll see. So for the deadlift, same thing. You find that position with your head and hands, but your legs stay wide. And then you just rock forward and lift the legs straight. And then they either stay here or they meet up, right? Next option, I'll show you this, is you can move your mat to the wall. You want to turn it so the short edge is at the wall. And this way, if you're feeling a little bit unstable, you know you're not going to tip over, right? You can also do headstand just by kicking up. You can come up, feet find the wall, and then maybe you just lift one leg, maybe you try the other, maybe you try both. You can also pike into it, where you keep both legs straight and then lift. You can also come up on your forearms and try to find that balance, okay? So just take a minute and play with that. See how that feels. And then we'll move on to some shoulder work. You can always practice these headstands. I like doing headstands because sometimes I feel like I just need a new perspective on things. And sometimes just flipping upside down, giving yourself a new vantage point, sort of an interesting experiment like that, right? So let's see, once you're done with that, if you have a strap or a belt or anything you can use, a towel, you might want to grab it. And we'll work on a little bit of some shoulders and some hips, some hip openers. So we'll all come to a seat, okay? And the first thing we'll do is actually, I think we're just gonna work our shoulders 3 different ways. So if you have a strap, you might wanna grab it. If not, you don't need it. And you can just keep your hands straight out in front of you. And we'll just work with opening up the shoulders just a little bit. Just a really simple movement. Bring the shoulders up, excuse me, not shoulders, but hands up. And it helps if you have that strap because it gives you some tension. Up towards the sky and then back down in front of you. Just do that a couple more times. Reach up and back. And release. One more time, up and back. And release. Nice. And we'll open up to the back body just by doing eagle arms in a seated pose. We're not going to worry about the legs right now. We already challenged our balance. So we'll take the arms out. Then you cross the arms, make an X. Okay? Doesn't matter which arm is on top, we're going to switch. So you have an X. Bend your elbows. And now you're going to wrap your hands around like they're going to clap together. Okay? A little bit of a pretzel here, so you should be able to clap your hands together if you can find that openness in the back body, the shoulders. Breathe into the space, the back of the ribs, back in between those shoulder blades. Let it open up. And then release. This time, we'll bring the opposite arm on top. So opposite arm on top, make an X, bend the elbows, and then twist your wrists and your hands together until you can clap your hands, golf clap. And press those forearms away from your face. I don't know if it'll help if I turn sideways, I'm not sure. But you can press them away from your face. You can even lift the shoulders and you'll feel an even deeper stretch. It feels pretty nice across the back. And then we'll release. We'll find cow face pose. So cow face pose not only works your shoulders, but also your hips. So we'll work them in one direction than the other. So I'm going to bring my left knee a little bit more directly in front of my body. It's not exactly in front, but it's pretty close. Then I'm going to take my right leg and I'm going to cross it over as much as I can. The goal being to keep both hips on the ground and the knees directly stacked. Now that can be pretty tough on your knee joints and it's pretty tough on your hips as well. Most important thing is that you're taking care of your joints. So only cross the legs over as much as you can without pain in the knees and keep your hips square on the ground. Okay, so that's the first part. Now I'm going to rotate backwards and show you what I'm going to do with the arms. So again, I have my right leg on top. So I'm going to bring my arms straight out, opposite arm from top leg. Reaches up and back in between the shoulder blades. Other arm reaches back behind you. You're trying to get those fingertips together. If you can't make that happen, you can use a strap. You hold the strap in your top hand and then reach for the strap with your bottom hand and pull it tight. So you're getting that openness, even if you can't get those hands together. I have an injury on my left shoulder blade, and sometimes this pose can be really difficult for me. So I find that strap really helpful, especially on this side. Okay, and then let's release the arms, and we're gonna move to the opposite side. And only because I know it's your favorite, I will showgirl over. Opposite side. So now my right leg is on the bottom, my left leg comes on top. Again, I'm not going to worry too much about getting them stacked right on top of each other. taking care of my knees, making sure my hips are flat. Arms come to a T. Make sure you have that strap if you think you need it. You're gonna want it, if your left leg's on top, you wanna hold it in your right hand. So right arm comes up, hand reaches in between the shoulder blades. Left hand comes back and reaches for those right fingertips. Now I'm a little bit more open on this side, so I can grasp the fingertips. And I'll show you, since I can do it on this side, what that looks like. Stretching through the shoulder blades. Spine nice and tall. And release. So uncross those legs. We'll bring them to a butterfly. Let's open them up in the opposite direction. You can wiggle them out a little bit. I like to take, you can do this pose in 2 different shapes. I like the one where you keep the feet in closer, but if you feel like that's too much, you can take it out to a larger diamond type shape if that feels better for you. So choose whichever one feels best for your joints. Spine lifts nice and tall. And then we're gonna fold forward with a straight back. So don't think about placing your hands, your face into your feet. You wanna think about your heart space coming forward into those feet. So reach forward as far as you can, and only when you found your limit, release and let the head and neck help aid you in coming down as far as you can. Pause here for just a moment. And we'll take one more hip opener before we find our final pose. So let's come out of it the same way we came in. So reach forward through the crown of the head until you find a flat back, and then lift all the way up. Last pose, let's find that big wide angle pose. All right, so it's like the sideways splits. We sit up nice and tall. I'm even rocking forward a little bit here, having more weight forwards than back. Toes pointed towards the ceiling. Chest lifts high. And you're just gonna walk your hands out any amount. Again, find that flat back as far as you can until you've found your limit, and then release, letting gravity help you come down. Try not to resist it, breathe into it. So helpful with my barking dogs to be relaxed. Maybe with your last deep inhale and release of your exhale, you can come forward, maybe even just a centimeter more. And then you walk yourself back up. Keep those legs wide. We're just gonna reach over, left hand, trying to find those right toes. Open through the chest. Lengthen the side body. Length in the right hamstring. And then release, opposite side. Right arm comes over. Try to find those left toes. Spin that chest open. Open through the right side body. Left hamstring. Then release. Swing your feet around. And we'll find Shavasana, corpse pose. Let's lay all the way down. Feel rooted again. Feel supported by the ground. Let the feet flop open. You might even pull your back flat on the ground. Sometimes you can make a little adjustment with your shoulders and you'll feel like your thoracic spine is flatter to the ground. Palms are skyward, eyes closed. And just take a moment to notice how your body feels. Notice the benefits of every practice. And again, notice that intention that you set at the beginning of class. And with every breath in, remember that intention. Repeat it back to yourself. should always be stated in an active voice. Just to clarify that, you want to say things like, I am grounded, not I wish I was more grounded, or I'm going to try to be grounded. It's an affirmation. I am. Or if you're sending something to someone else, let there be. And when you're ready, take a big breath in and roll over onto one side, whichever side is calling your name today. Pause here for a moment. And then find your way back into your seated position, eyes remain closed. A couple of breaths here. One last time. Take that intention in between the space of your palms, bring them towards your heart. One breath in, one breath out. Thank you all for practicing with me this morning. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Namaste. I have to figure out how to unmute you. How do I do that?
We can unmute ourselves.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah. Thank you. It was amazing.
Using someone else's computer. Weird. All right. Thanks, you guys.
Bye.
Thank you.